Chapter 1, The Offer I Couldn't Refuse. I used to believe that hard work could fix anything. Every morning, I unlocked the door to my late father's small construction company and whispered, "Dad, I'm still trying." The empty office never answered, but I kept showing up because giving up felt worse than failing. Emma walked in carrying 2 cups of coffee. "You skipped breakfast again, didn't you?" I smiled weakly. "Coffee counts." She handed me a cup and frowned. "No, it doesn't. You can't keep living like this." "I'm trying to save the company." "I know. That's why I'm worried." I looked around the office. Old blueprints covered the walls. Bills covered my desk. The difference hurt. Emma touched my hand. "We'll get through this." "You always say that." "Because I believe it." "I wish I believed it too." She squeezed my fingers. "Then borrow my hope until yours comes back." Her words stayed with me after she left for work. A few minutes later, Daniel pushed the door open without knocking. "You look terrible," he said. "Thanks. I'm serious. I didn't sleep much." He dropped a folder onto my desk. I checked the accounts again. "And? We're running out of time." "I already knew that. I also found a few payments we can delay." I let out a long breath. "You're saving me again." He laughed. "That's what best friends do." Daniel had been beside me since we were children. We built treehouses together, skipped school together once, and promised we would always have each other's backs. If there was one person I trusted without question, it was him. "So," he asked, "have you thought about finding investors?" "I've tried. No luck. They all think we're too small." He nodded slowly. "Someone will see your value." "I hope you're right." The phone rang before I could say anything else. I answered. "Walker Construction." A calm voice replied, "Is this the owner?" "Yes. My name is Victor Hale. I'd like to discuss a business opportunity." I almost laughed. Business opportunities usually don't call companies drowning in debt. "I believe yours is worth saving. When do you want to meet?" "This afternoon." "I'll be there." After the call ended, Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Who was that?" "Victor Hale." His smile faded. "The Victor Hale?" "I guess so. I've heard stories." "What kind?" "The kind that make people nervous." Before I could answer, Emma called. "How did the morning go?" she asked. "I have a meeting." "With who?" "Victor Hale." Silence filled the line. "Please tell me you're joking." "I'm not. I've heard terrible things about him." "They're only rumors." "Please be careful." "I will." "No," she said softly. "Promise me you won't sign anything today." "I promise I'll think first." She sighed. "That's not what I asked." "I know." That afternoon, I walked into the tallest building I had ever entered. Victor Hale stood beside a wide window overlooking the city. "You made it," he said. "I almost didn't. But you came." "I need work." He smiled. "I admire honesty." He handed me a thick file. "I want your company to lead one of my new construction projects." I stared at him. "You're serious?" "Completely. This contract is bigger than anything we've ever handled." "I know." "Why choose me?" "Because everyone else plays it safe." I frowned. "And you think I don't?" "I think desperate people fight harder." His words stung because they were true. "There must be a catch." "There is risk." "How much?" "If the project succeeds, your company will never struggle again." And if it fails? You lose everything. My hands tightened around the file. Victor leaned forward. Great rewards never come from comfortable choices. I left the meeting with the contract under my arm and confusion inside my head. That evening, Emma waited outside the office. What did he offer? A chance to save everything. At what cost? I don't know yet. She grabbed my arm. Please don't do this. Daniel stepped into the room. Let me see the contract. He read several pages before looking at me. It's dangerous. I know. But it could change your life. Emma shook her head. Listen to yourself. Daniel closed the folder. If anyone can pull this off, it's you. Emma looked at me with tears in her eyes. You don't have to prove anything. I have to save Dad's company. There are other ways. I've searched for months. Then search one more month. We don't have one more month. The room fell silent. I picked up the pen. Emma whispered, please. Daniel quietly said, this is your moment. My heart pounded so hard I could barely breathe. I have to believe this is the right choice, I said. Then I signed my name across the final page. I smiled with relief, convinced I had just saved my future. I never noticed the quiet smile spreading across Daniel's face. Chapter 2. Only 3 weeks after I signed Victor Hale's contract, everything began falling apart. I walked into the office and froze. 3 workers stood near my desk with angry faces. Where's our pay? Mark demanded. I sent the payroll request 2 days ago, I said. It never reached our accounts. That can't be right. It is right, another worker snapped. We've got families to feed. I grabbed the payroll records from my desk. Give me 1 hour, I pleaded. I'll find out what happened. Mark shook his head. You've said that before. This time I mean it. We're done waiting. The men walked out, slamming the door behind them. I stared after them, feeling my stomach twist. A few minutes later, Daniel rushed inside. What happened? He asked. The workers quit. They'll come back. They won't if I can't pay them. He frowned as he looked through the papers. That's strange. What is? Money is missing. What do you mean? There should be enough for payroll. I leaned over his shoulder. Show me. He pointed at the screen. These transfers weren't here yesterday. Who approved them? I don't know. My head started pounding. Before I could answer, my phone rang. Walker Construction, I said. This is Greenstone Supplies, a sharp voice replied. Your payment is overdue. I asked for another week. You already had one. I'm waiting for funds. We're done waiting. Delivery stops today. The call ended before I could respond. I rubbed my face. This isn't happening. Daniel placed a hand on my shoulder. We'll fix it. I don't even know where to start. Start with the bank. I nodded and grabbed my keys. The bank manager frowned as she checked my account. I'm sorry, she said quietly. Can you explain these transfers? They were approved using your company credentials. I never approved them. The system says otherwise. There has to be a mistake. I wish there was. I left the bank feeling sick. When I returned, more bad news waited for me. A courier handed me a thick envelope. Sign here. What is it? Legal documents. My hands shook as I opened them. A lawsuit. Then another. And another. I whispered, how can this happen so fast? Daniel looked just as shocked. This is getting out of control. I wanted to believe him. I really did. That evening, I called Emma. She didn't answer. I called again. Nothing. I sent a message. Please call me. I need you. No reply. An hour later, I drove to her apartment. The lights were off. I knocked several times. Silence. Her neighbor opened the next door. Looking for Emma? Yes. She moved out yesterday. I blinked. What? I saw movers all afternoon. Did she leave an address? The woman shook her head. No. She left in a hurry. I stood there, unable to breathe. Emma hadn't told me she was leaving. She hadn't even said goodbye. I drove back to my office in silence, hoping Emma would call before I arrived. My phone stayed dark. Every mile made the empty seat beside me feel heavier. When I reached the office, Daniel stood by the window. Did you find her? He asked. No. Maybe she just needs space. Without telling me. He looked away. I don't know. Something inside me refused to settle. I opened the company computer and searched through every recent transaction again. These transfers, I muttered. They all happened late at night. Daniel stepped closer. Maybe someone hacked the system. Maybe. I clicked another file. A name appeared beside the approval records. My heart stopped. Daniel. He stayed quiet. I looked at him. Why is your employee account connected to these transfers? His face lost all color. I can explain. Then explain. It's not what you think. Tell me the truth. He lowered his head. I needed money. My hands trembled. You stole from me. I was going to put it back. You emptied the company. I never meant for this to happen. You watched me lose everything. I didn't know it would get this bad. I stepped backward, feeling like the floor had disappeared beneath me. You were my brother. I know. I trusted you more than anyone. I'm sorry. The words sounded empty. My phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. Look at today's business news. I opened the article. A photo filled the screen. Emma stood beside Daniel at a press conference. She was smiling. The headline read: Daniel Reed named new partner in major construction venture. I couldn't breathe. No, I whispered. Daniel closed his eyes. I wanted to tell you. Tell me what? He looked straight at me. Emma and I have been together for months. The room spun around me. You're lying. I'm not. When? It just happened. While she was planning our wedding. He said nothing. Answer me. Yes. Every memory I treasured suddenly felt fake. The late-night phone calls. The canceled dates. The secret meetings they called business. It all made sense. You both planned this. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. You stole my company. I didn't mean. And you stole the woman I loved. He reached toward me. I'm sorry. Don't touch me. I walked past him without looking back. Outside, reporters surrounded me before I reached my truck. Did your poor management destroy the company? Are you responsible for the missing money? What do you say to employees blaming you? I opened my mouth, but no words came. Behind the cameras, I saw Daniel and Emma leaving another car together. Neither of them came to help me. Neither of them denied the lies. They simply walked away while the world believed I had ruined everything. By the end of the week, the bank seized my company, my office was locked, and my father's name was dragged through the mud beside mine. I walked away carrying one small box of personal belongings. Inside it sat my father's old hammer, a faded family photo, and the office key that no longer opened any door. I had lost my business, my best friend, the woman I loved, and the life I had spent years trying to protect. As I stood alone on the empty sidewalk, I realized I had nothing left except painful questions, and I had no idea that the hardest part of my life had only just begun. Chapter 3. 2 weeks after losing everything, I unlocked the door to the smallest apartment I had ever seen. One room, one narrow bed, one cracked window, and one old table were all I could afford. I dropped my single bag onto the floor and laughed without humor. "So this is what's left," I whispered. The silence answered me. Every morning, I searched for work. Every afternoon, someone shook their head. "We're not hiring. You owned a company. Sorry, we need someone with recent experience." Each rejection felt heavier than the last. One evening, I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. "What happened to you?" I asked myself. No answer came. My phone buzzed. The caller ID showed an unknown number. "Hello. This is Grace Lawson." I frowned. "I'm sorry, who?" "I'm the attorney handling several lawsuits connected to your old company." My stomach tightened. "Am I being sued again?" "No. I actually wanted to ask you a few questions." "I don't know anything." "I believe you." I stayed quiet. She continued, "The financial records don't make sense." "I've been saying that from the beginning." "I know. That's why I called." "So what happens now?" "I'm still investigating." "Do you think the truth will come out?" "I hope so." Hope. I had almost forgotten how that word sounded. "Thank you," I said softly. "Don't thank me yet." After the call ended, I sat on my bed for a long time. Maybe someone finally believed me. The next morning, I found temporary work unloading supplies at a warehouse. The pay was small, but I couldn't afford to be proud. During lunch, another worker sat beside me. "Weren't you the guy from Walker Construction?" "I was." "I saw the news." "I'm sure you did." He hesitated. "My brother worked for you." I looked up. "Is he okay?" "He said you always paid on time." I tried. "He doesn't believe you stole that money." His words caught me by surprise. "Thank you." He smiled. Not everyone believes what they see on television. When the shift ended, I walked home instead of taking the bus. I needed time to think. Halfway there, I noticed an old pickup truck stopped on the side of the road. An elderly man stood beside it, kicking one of the tires. "This stubborn thing picked the worst time to quit," he muttered. I slowed down. "Need some help?" He looked at me and smiled. "Only if you don't mind getting your hands dirty." For the first time in weeks, I found myself answering without thinking. "I don't mind at all." I walked over and looked under the truck's hood. "I should warn you," I said. "I'm not a mechanic." The old man chuckled. I smiled a little. "Fair enough." He handed me a flashlight. "Hold this." I aimed the light while he checked a loose battery cable. "There," he said. "Can you tighten that bolt?" I found a wrench in his toolbox and tightened it. "Try it now." He climbed into the truck and turned the key. The engine roared to life. He laughed. I knew she still had some fight left. I stepped back. "Looks like you were right." He climbed out and offered his hand. "I'm Carter." I shook it. "I'm Ryan." "Thank you, Ryan." It wasn't much. It was enough. He studied my face for a moment. You look like you're carrying something heavier than that toolbox. I forced a smile. You could say that. Coffee? I almost refused. Instead, I heard myself say, sure. We walked to a small diner nearby. After the waitress poured 2 cups, Mr. Carter looked at me. So, what's your story? I stared into my coffee. I lost my business. That hurts. I lost my best friend too. He nodded. And the woman I was going to marry. He stayed silent. I trusted them more than anyone. What happened? They betrayed me. He took a slow sip. I know that feeling. You do. I lost my repair shop 20 years ago. I looked up. What happened? I trusted the wrong partner. My eyes widened. Really? He emptied the accounts and disappeared. I leaned back. How did you survive that? I didn't. Not at first. What do you mean? I spent a year blaming myself. That's exactly what I'm doing. He smiled sadly. I thought one mistake had ruined my whole life. And I was wrong. I frowned. It didn't feel that way. No, it didn't. He pointed at me. Listen carefully. I nodded. One bad decision should never become your whole identity. His words settled deep inside me. But I signed the contract. Yes. I trusted Daniel. Yes. I failed my father. Mr. Carter shook his head. You failed once. I lost everything. You still have your hands. I looked down at them. You still have your mind. I stayed quiet. And today, he continued, you stopped to help a stranger instead of walking away. I almost kept walking. But you didn't. I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Not peace. Just a small spark. What if I can't fix my life? I asked. He smiled. You don't fix a broken building in one day. I know. You lay one brick at a time. The words reminded me of my father. He used to say something similar. I stood outside the diner with Mr. Carter. If you ever need work, he said, my repair shop could use another pair of hands. You'd hire me? I'd give you a chance. I swallowed hard. Thank you. He smiled. Don't thank me yet. Show up tomorrow. I will. As I watched his old truck disappear down the road, I made a promise to myself. I would never beg Daniel for mercy. I would never chase Emma for answers. I would stop waiting for someone else to save me. If I wanted my life back, I would build it myself, one brick at a time. Chapter 4. The next morning, I arrived at Mr. Carter's repair shop 15 minutes early. He looked up from an old truck and smiled. I was wondering if you'd change your mind. I almost did. But you didn't. I needed a fresh start. He tossed me a pair of work gloves. Then let's get started. I caught them. What do you want me to do? First, sweep the floor. I laughed. I thought you'd put me on engines. He grinned. You earn engines. You don't start with them. Fair enough. For the next few hours, I cleaned tools, carried heavy parts, and listened more than I spoke. Around noon, Mr. Carter handed me a sandwich. Take a break. Thanks. He sat beside me. How are you holding up? I still wake up thinking everything was a nightmare. And then? Then I remember it's real. He nodded slowly. Pain doesn't disappear overnight. I know. But it doesn't stay the same forever either. His words stayed with me for the rest of the day. A week passed. Then another. For the first time in months, someone handed me a paycheck. It wasn't much, but I stared at it like it was treasure. Mr. Carter noticed. Feels good, doesn't it? It feels honest. It is. That evening, I stopped at a small grocery store instead of buying instant noodles. I smiled while placing fresh bread, eggs, and fruit into my basket. It wasn't a feast. It was progress. The next day, Mr. Carter called me into his office. I want you to meet someone. A woman stood beside his desk with a folder in her hands. She looked confident but friendly. Ryan, Mr. Carter said, this is Sophia. She offered her hand. It's nice to meet you. You too. Mr. Carter smiled. Sophia helps small businesses organize their finances. I raised an eyebrow. I don't have a business anymore. I know, Sophia replied gently. Mr. Carter told me your story. I looked at him. You've been talking about me? Only the important parts. I sighed. Then you've heard how badly I failed. Sophia shook her head. I heard you were betrayed. There's a difference. A huge one. I folded my arms. I'm not sure I believe that. She opened the folder. May I ask you a few questions? I guess. Did you personally move the missing money? No. Did you knowingly approve those transfers? Never. Did you ignore warning signs? I hesitated. Maybe. She nodded. That's a mistake. I know. But making a mistake isn't the same as being dishonest. I looked at her for a long moment. No one has said that to me before. Then it's time someone did. Mr. Carter smiled quietly. Sophia continued, if you want to rebuild your future, the first step is understanding what really happened. And the second? She closed the folder. Learning how to make sure it never happens again. For the first time since losing everything, I felt like someone wasn't looking at my past. They were looking at my future. The following week, I met Sophia after work at a quiet coffee shop. She opened her notebook and smiled. Ready to learn? I hope so. Good. First lesson. I picked up my pen. Never trust someone with your business just because you love them. I stopped writing. That one hurts. I know. But pain is a good teacher. I nodded. What comes next? Every payment needs proof. I used to let Daniel handle everything. And that's exactly why we're changing your habits. She showed me simple budgeting methods, expense tracking, and ways to protect company accounts. After 2 hours, my head felt full. I didn't realize how much I never learned. She smiled. Nobody knows everything. I should have. No, she replied. You should have had honest people beside you. Her words lifted a weight from my shoulders. For the next month, my routine became simple. I worked with Mr. Carter during the day. I studied business every evening. I returned to my apartment tired, but proud. One afternoon, Mr. Carter watched me repair an engine by myself. When it started on the first try, he laughed. Now you're earning the engines. I grinned. I was wondering when you'd say that. You've earned a lot more than that. What do you mean? You've earned your confidence. I looked down. I still don't feel confident. You don't have to feel it. I don't. You only have to keep showing up. Those words stayed with me. A few days later, Sophia called. I have good news. I could use some. I found a small office for rent. I blinked. An office? It's cheap. I can't afford to start another company. I'm not asking you to. Then why do I need an office? Because dreams need a place to grow. I smiled without realizing it. When can I see it? Tomorrow. The office was tiny. The paint was old. The windows needed cleaning. Still, I walked through the empty room imagining desks, tools, and smiling customers. Sophia noticed my expression. What are you thinking? I'm thinking it doesn't look impossible. That's progress. I used to believe I needed a huge building. And now? I think I only need one honest chance. She smiled. Exactly. Before leaving, I stood in the middle of the empty office. I'll come back, I whispered. Sophia heard me. I believe you will. That evening, I received a message from an old supplier. I heard you're working again. I'm glad you didn't give up. I smiled. Not everyone had forgotten me. Not everyone believed the lies. The next morning, I found Mr. Carter drinking coffee outside the shop. You look different, he said. How? You've stopped staring at the ground. I laughed. I didn't notice. I did. He handed me another pair of work gloves. Ready for another day? More than ever. As I pulled them on, I realized something had quietly changed inside me. I no longer woke up wishing for my old life. I woke up wanting to build a better one. Far away, Daniel was still enjoying the company he had stolen. Emma was still standing beside him. Neither of them knew I had stopped living in the past. While they celebrated borrowed success, I was building real strength. This time, nobody would be able to steal it from me. Chapter 5. 6 months passed faster than I expected. One morning, Sophia walked into the small office I had finally rented and placed a folder on my desk. She smiled. Ready to become your own boss again? I laughed. I've been waiting to hear those words. She opened the folder. Your business license is approved. I stared at the paper. It's real. It is. I actually did it. You earned it. I took a deep breath. This company will be different. How? I'll know every payment. She nodded. I was hoping you'd say that. Mr. Carter walked through the door carrying a toolbox. I heard there was good news. There is, I said. He shook my hand. I'm proud of you. I couldn't have done this without both of you. He smiled. Remember that when you're too busy to answer my calls. I'll never be that busy. A week later, our first customer arrived. An elderly woman looked around the office. Are you Ryan? Yes, ma'am. My neighbor said you're honest. I try to be. I need someone to repair my old house. I'd be happy to help. She hesitated. I can't pay as much as the big companies. I smiled. Let's worry about doing the job right first. She reached across the desk. Thank you. After she left, Sophia looked at me. You could have charged more. I know. Why didn't you? I want people to trust me before they admire me. She grinned. I like that answer. Over the next few months, more customers arrived. One family recommended another. Then another. Soon our calendar was almost full. One afternoon, Mr. Carter stopped by a construction site where I was checking measurements. He looked around proudly. Not bad. We're growing. I can see that. I still get nervous every time I sign paperwork. He laughed. That's called experience. I used to think confidence meant never being afraid. And now? I think confidence means checking everything twice. He patted my shoulder. Now you're thinking like a businessman. Later that evening, I met Sophia at a cafe. She looked unusually serious. I heard something today. What happened? It's about Daniel. I stayed quiet. His company is having problems. I looked at her. What kind of problems? Late payments. I frowned. Anything else? Several workers have quit. The word sounded familiar. Too familiar. I remembered standing in my old office while my own workers walked away. Sophia watched my face. What are you thinking? I'm remembering. Do you feel sorry for him? I looked out the window. I don't know. She nodded slowly. You don't sound angry anymore. I'm tired of being angry. Before we could continue, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I answered. Hello. A soft voice replied. Ryan, it's me. My heart stopped. I knew that voice. Emma had finally called. I stayed silent for several seconds. Ryan? Emma asked again. I'm here. I didn't think you'd answer. I almost didn't. I know I don't deserve your time. No, I replied quietly, you don't. She let out a shaky breath. Can we meet? Why? I need to talk to you. We have nothing left to say. Please. I closed my eyes. One meeting. Thank you. That's all. The next afternoon, I arrived at a small park. Emma was already sitting on a bench. She looked different. The confident smile I remembered was gone. When she stood, she whispered, Hi. Hi. You look, well. I've been working. I can see that. Neither of us spoke for a moment. Finally, she broke the silence. I'm sorry. I looked at her. For which part? She lowered her eyes. For everything. I waited. I hurt you. You did. I never wanted things to end like that. They didn't just end. You chose someone else. Tears filled her eyes. I know. You lied to me for months. I know. You watched me plan our wedding. She covered her face. I know. I took a slow breath. So why am I here? She looked at me. Because I needed you to hear me. I'm listening. Daniel isn't the man I thought he was. I almost laughed. You finally noticed. He lies all the time. I warned myself about that too late. He hides things. I know. He barely comes home. I folded my arms. Why are you telling me this? Because I made the biggest mistake of my life. I looked at the ground. I can't change your past. I don't expect you to. She stepped closer. Can you ever forgive me? I looked into her eyes. The pain was real. So was mine. I don't hate you anymore. Her face brightened for a moment. But forgiveness doesn't mean I forget. She nodded slowly. I understand. It also doesn't mean we can start over. The small hope in her eyes disappeared. I thought you might say that. I've spent months rebuilding my life. I know. I'm finally finding peace. I can see it. I'm not going to lose it again. A tear rolled down her cheek. I really did love you. I answered honestly. She looked surprised. But love without loyalty isn't enough. She closed her eyes. You're right. We stood there without speaking. Finally, she whispered, Goodbye, Ryan. Goodbye, Emma. She turned and walked away without looking back. I watched until she disappeared around the corner. Sophia called a few minutes later. How did it go? It's over. How do you feel? Lighter. Any regrets? I smiled. Only that I didn't let go sooner. I'm proud of you. Thanks. As I ended the call, I realized something important. Walking away had hurt far less than holding on. The following morning, one of my suppliers shook my hand. I've heard good things about your company. We're doing our best. It shows. He smiled. People trust your name again. Those words meant more than any contract. While I was earning respect one honest job at a time, rumors about Daniel's company continued to spread. Late wages. Broken promises. Unhappy clients. The cracks were growing wider every day. For the first time, I understood something my father had tried to teach me years ago. A reputation built on lies may rise quickly, but it always falls faster. I had stopped chasing revenge. Life was already taking care of that on its own.